Day after Iran threatened Saudi, Houthis attack a key Arab nation's airport and oil facilities. MBS in shock as Iran-aligned Houthis target Saudi Arabia's travel and energy infrastructure? Houthis emboldened by Iran's threat to join the widening war against Saudi Arabia? Yahya Saree's warning to Riyadh, more painful strikes could be coming as tensions escalate. Yemen's Iran-backed Houthis launched 2 drone attacks targeting Saudi Arabia's Najran on August 20th, according to reports, escalating tensions between the two sides. One of the drones reportedly targeted a site at Najran Airport, according to a report by Iran International, raising fresh concerns over attacks on Saudi infrastructure. The second drone was reportedly aimed at Aramco oil facilities in Najran, according to the Houthi-run Saada news agency, further widening the range of targets. Houthi military spokesman Yahya Saree said one of the drones targeted what he described as a sensitive site at Najran Airport during the latest operation. Saree said the attacks were carried out in retaliation for alleged Saudi drone activity over Yemen-Saudi province, according to Houthi claims. Yahya Saree said, and I quote, "By the grace of God, the Yemeni armed forces have successfully carried out 2 military operations using 2 drones. The first targeted a sensitive site of the Saudi enemy at Najran Airport, while the second targeted Aramco Najran, and both operations achieved their objectives successfully by the grace of God. These 2 operations came in response to the Saudi enemy's violation of the airspace of Saada Governorate with its drones, and the armed forces will continue to protect Yemen's sovereignty from any incursion and to enforce this equation, God willing." Unquote. The latest claims come amid warnings that the Houthis could expand their campaign against strategic Saudi targets as regional tensions continue to rise. Dozens of targets in Saudi Arabia's Jazan and Najran regions have reportedly been added to the Houthi target bank, according to Lebanon's Al Akhbar newspaper. The report said Aramco facilities, oil storage sites, pipelines and export terminals could face additional attacks if the confrontation continues to escalate. Houthi officials have also warned that Saudi Arabia's critical oil infrastructure could become a major target in any broader campaign against the kingdom. Yahya Saree has further warned that Yemen could carry out more painful airstrikes against Saudi Arabia, raising the prospect of further attacks in the days ahead. Iran's top army commander has issued a fresh warning to Persian Gulf states over growing U.S. military activity in the region. Major General Abdullahi warned Gulf countries on August 19 against providing assistance or support to the U.S. military, according to Press TV. Major General Ali Abdullahi said, and I quote, "Those southern Persian Gulf countries that issue various statements claiming they will not allow the United States to use their territory against Iran should know that nothing escapes our attention. We warn that any assistance or facilitation provided to the aggressive U.S. military will be regarded as participation alongside U.S. military forces." Unquote. Abdullahi questioned how U.S. forces could operate from military bases across the region without host nations being fully aware or involved. The Iranian warning came shortly after Tehran-backed Houthi forces warned Riyadh against taking further steps that could escalate the regional conflict.
Hundreds of Saudi enemy troops, including Saudi commanders and officers, were killed or wounded. A large number of depots and pieces of equipment belonging to Saudi enemy concentrations were set ablaze and destroyed. We warn the Saudi regime against the dangers of escalating the situation. Any comprehensive escalation will be met with a comprehensive escalation.
Houthis have made fresh claims about their operations against Saudi forces and shipping. The Houthis say they have imposed 3 new equations against Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia faces fresh pressure as the Houthis claim heavy losses among its forces. The Houthis claim Saudi gunboats were sunk and dozens of oil vessels were forced to turn back. The Red Sea crisis deepens as the Houthis claim a major blockade of Saudi-linked shipping.
O'Day, the Yemeni armed forces possess the strength to dictate the terms of engagement. With God's help, they have successfully established 3 such equations. The first is blockade for blockade, wherein we have imposed a tight siege on the enemy, preventing the passage of even a single ship. The second is striking Saudi troop concentrations wherever they are located. The third is protecting Yemen's sovereignty and countering any enemy incursions. In implementation of the blockade for blockade equation, and in the period between the announcement of the ban on maritime navigation for the Saudi enemy on July 20th and the present day, August 19th, The Yemeni armed forces have successfully targeted 8 Saudi oil tankers, 5 in the Red Sea and 3 in the Gulf of Aden and the Arabian Sea. Additionally, 48 Saudi oil tankers were prevented from passing and forced to turn back. 34 were blocked in the Arabian Sea and Indian Ocean, and 14 were blocked in the Red Sea. As part of the response to Saudi aggression against Sana'a Airport and the Port of Hodeidah, and to enforce the equation of protecting Yemeni sovereignty against airspace violations, particularly over the Saada and Hajj governorates, the Yemeni armed forces carried out 9 military operations. These targeted Yanbu, Najran, Jizan, Aba, and oil supply infrastructure in the eastern province. Furthermore, to enforce the equation of targeting Saudi troop concentrations wherever they exist, the armed forces conducted 14 military operations. These targeted Saudi enemy concentrations in Al-Rawaiq, Al-Abyar, Al-Wadiya, Marib, and Al-Mukha, as well as enemy ships and boats transporting equipment and troops. The results of these operations included the following: hundreds of Saudi enemy troops, including Saudi commanders and officers, were killed or wounded. A large number of depots and pieces of equipment belonging to Saudi enemy concentrations were set ablaze and destroyed. 2 military landing vessels transporting Saudi weapons and troop reinforcements in Al-Mukha were set ablaze and sunk. More than 10 gunboats belonging to Saudi-led forces, which have been engaging in acts of piracy, banditry, and looting in the Red Sea under Saudi direction, were set ablaze and sunk. We warn the Saudi regime against the dangers of escalating the situation. Any comprehensive escalation will be met with a comprehensive escalation. The Saudi regime has no choice but to lift the blockade and implement the agreed-upon terms, lifting the blockade, ending the aggression, paying salaries, withdrawing occupying forces, and leaving the Yemeni people's wealth to the people themselves.
Upgrade your news experience with the all-new HT app. Download now.